the president to lay the FCT's budget before the National Assembly. The Rural Electrification Agency has organized a 3-day retreat to address challenges around renewable energy and mini-grid in Nigeria. The retreat, which is in collaboration with Rural Electrification Fund and other key stakeholders, held in Abuja and is aimed at critically brainstorming on the e-Hearts initiatives. Samuel Odi completes the story.
Stakeholders and participants gathered in their numbers to brainstorm on energy challenges being faced by rural communities in Nigeria. The Executive Director of Rural Electrification Fund, Doris Obong, says the fund will deploy 3,700 solar power mini-grids and renewable energy solutions to primary healthcare centers, schools, agriculture, and transportation.
It means generating almost 93 megawatts of clean energy through renewable energy solutions, especially through solar solutions, mini-grids, solar home systems, and all of that. And we intend to do this, like I said, across the country, 25 communities per state. It will be injecting 2.5 megawatts of clean energy into every state, into their energy space. So we intend to come up with a workable implementation plan, have a good operational guidelines to ensure that the implementation, execution of this project becomes seamless.
Deputy Director, Rural Electrification Fund, Dr. Al-Hassan Ahmed, said the initiative, when implemented, would boost healthcare delivery, agricultural activities, among others. There is no doubt that rural communities are crucial to the nation's development, as such, efforts need to be made to provide sustainable energy solutions to such areas to improve their standards of living. Samuel Odi, reporting for Global Television News.
Business correspondent Samuel Odi there reporting. The Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, for the 19 northern states and the Federal Capital Territory, has raised concerns over religious discrimination, national security threats, and the erosion of constitutional freedoms in the region. The concerns were raised during a strategic meeting with the National Security Advisor, Malam Nuhu Ribadu, in Abuja. In a 14-point communique signed by the Northern CAN Chairman, Reverend John Joseph Fayab, and Secretary General Bishop Mohammed Naga, the association warned that the persistence of insecurity, marginalization, and structural bias against Christians in northern Nigeria could worsen divisions and threaten the nation's delicate peace. Let's talk politics now. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, in Lagos State has announced plans to adopt consensus candidates for chairmanship and councillorship positions in the upcoming local government elections scheduled for July 12. Speaking in an interview, Hakeem Olalemi, the party's vice chairman central, said the selection process would be based on agreements reached among stakeholders in each council area. The party has slated its primaries for Saturday, May 17, to take place across all local government secretariats in Lagos State. The Nigerian Navy ship NNS Pathfinder has dismantled 9 illegal refining sites in Ogba, Egbema, Ndoni local government areas of River State as part of ongoing efforts to curb crude oil theft and illegal bunkering activity. This was revealed in a statement signed by the commander of NNS Pathfinder, Commando Kajethan Onabuchi Anyaku. The operation uncovered 45 ovens, 30 reservoirs, and 75 dugout pits, which contained an estimated 60,000 liters of suspected stolen crude oil and 80,000 liters of suspected illegally refined automotive gas oil, AGO. The House of Representatives has urged the federal government to urgently engage the Republic of Benin over the blockade of the Tabera bordering Baroten local government area in Kwara State. Ordered on May 6, 2025, the blockade restricts the movement of people, goods, and services, threatening livelihoods and trade.
The Deputy Minority Leader, Honorable Aliyu Madaki, and several other lawmakers argued that enforcing rotational presidency could undermine merit and competence in leadership selection.
And when we are talking of giving people job to do. We are looking at competence. We are looking at ability. I don't know why. Indirectly, it's like in every political parties, there is an arrangement that North will do this term, the South will do this term.
Spirit prevails, sir. I think part of the reason why this sense of injustice continues to go on is because of the failure of governance, the failure of social equity. So, Mr. Speaker, I implore that we do not set a dangerous precedent and put it in the Constitution without due diligence.
Which are we going to force parties to actually pick someone from each region? How many parties do we have? We need to look at each zone. We need to look at party politics.
However, a few members spoke in support of the bill, insisting it would help address long-standing marginalization of certain parts of the country.
Question, obviously, is set to cure an age-long injustice in our land, especially the minority zones in the region, in Nigeria, which if the presidency of this nation and the vice presidency of this nation is allowed to be struggled in terms of election, they will not have a chance of getting to that climax.
I believe every zone of the country have people with capacity, people that can govern not only this country, can govern any of, even the ECOWAS countries.
Following the debate, Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu put the question twice and the majority opposed the bill.
I put the question again. Those who support that 1 to 7 constitutional review go to the Committee on Constitutional Review for it to progress. Say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The nays have it.
Consequently, all 7 amendment bills were rejected. In response, the chairman of the Committee on Rules and Business, Francis Wave, moved a motion for the bills to be reconsidered individually on their own merits. He is expected to present a substantive motion on the next legislative day to enable the House rescind its earlier decision. Sharon Ajay reporting for Global TV News.
Thank you, Sharon. In the meantime, the House of Representatives has rejected a bill seeking to provide for a rotational presidency among the country's 6 geopolitical zones. The proposal was one of 7 constitutional amendment bills slated for second reading. Debate on the rotational presidency bill was led by the Deputy Minority Leader, Honorable Aliyu Madaki, who set the tone for the criticisms that ultimately led to its rejection. Again, Sharon Ajay completes the story. We'll keep you abreast of that development subsequently. Moving on, Niger State Governor Mohammed Umar Bago has approached the House of Assembly with a request for a resolution to approve the issuance of a 70 billion naira bond for execution of critical projects. A correspondence from the governor to the House states that the bond forms part of a larger 100 billion naira bond raise program for 2025, which was approved by the State Executive Council at its 55th sitting on April 22nd, 2025. The governor noted that the proposed bond is intended to finance critical projects in key sectors such as healthcare, education, infrastructure, water supply, and inter as well as intrastate connectivity. A group concerned Plateau Youth Forum has rejected the nomination of Cyril Senyil as the managing director of the newly established North Central Development Commission. The commission, recently established by the National Assembly, is tasked with coordinating and accelerating development in states within the region. Spokesperson of the group, Danladi Pam, in a statement, urged President Bola Tinubu to immediately withdraw the nomination. Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, says the Nigerian Air Force remains ready, alert, and determined to protect Nigeria every day. The Air Chief stated this at the commemoration of the Nigerian Air Force's 61st anniversary. A statement by the Director of Public Relations and Information of the Nigerian Air Force Air Commodore Ehimen Edojame said Air Marshal Abubakar gave the charge during an operational visit to frontline troops in Katsina State. A political pressure group, the Zamfara Movement's Democrats, has faulted the state governor, Dauda Lawal, for what it described as a complete failure to protect lives and property in rural communities 2 years into his administration. In a statement issued by the group's convener, Umar Sariki, said residents in rural areas are being killed daily, properties looted, and villages attacked without any meaningful response from the state government. The group alleged that the governor has done little to address the alarming security situation ravaging the state, accusing him of governing in what it termed a desperado and emperor style, while neglecting the plight of his people. In another development, Governor Dauda Lawal has flagged off the distribution of debit cards for the beneficiaries of the World Bank-financed cash transfer scheme. The flag-off ceremony held at the Safa Local Government Secretariat marks the beginning of a major intervention aimed at lifting the poor and vulnerable across Zamfara State out of extreme poverty. Samuel Odi has more.
The government's Conditional Cash Transfer Scheme is a social protection program supported by the World Bank, targeting poor and vulnerable households with financial assistance to improve their standards of living. Zamfara State Governor Dauda Lawal reaffirmed his administration's commitment to support the most vulnerable members of the society. He described the launch as the milestone in his mission to rebuild a more inclusive and prosperous Zamfara.
The purpose of this empowerment is to enable you to invest in your future so that you can support yourselves and your families and contribute to the growth of our local as well as national economy.
The State Commissioner for Humanitarian Affairs and Relief Matters, Salisu Tafiu, and State Coordinator National Conditional Cash Transfer Scheme, Aminu Gusau, gave a detailed background of the beneficiary registration and verification process, emphasizing transparency and efficiency.
This important distribution and activation will be jointly executed by State Cash Transfer team and payment service providers that are already on ground. As we commence this vital exercise, Your Excellency, I urge all stakeholders, community facilitators, local government officials, security agencies, and GROs, that is, grievances address officers, to work in unity and commitment toward the successful completion of this process.
Highlights of the event was a symbolic presentation on activation of debit cards, followed by direct cash disbursement to selected beneficiaries. Samuel Odi reporting for Global Television News.
Thank you, Samuel. President Bola Tinubu has sworn in 2 newly appointed commissioners of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, as its chairman. Professor Mahmood Yakubu has dismissed widespread speculation that he had been removed from office. Speaking with State House correspondents shortly after the Federal Executive Council meeting at the presidential villa, Yakubu affirmed his position and clarified that no such action had been taken by the president. Kekalomo Okere completes the story.
The Independent National Electoral Commission Chairman Mahmood Yakubu revealed that the Commission had forwarded 142 recommendations to the National Assembly as part of ongoing efforts to reform Nigerian electoral process. Following its internal review of 2023 general elections, Yakubu expressed satisfaction with lawmakers' response and pace of action.
Weeks ago, we had a retreat in Lagos with the Joint Committee of the Senate and House of Representatives on Electoral Reform. Thereafter, the National Assembly is going to organize a public hearing, and it's after the public hearing that now a new bill will at the end of the day be submitted to the President for assent. So we're working with the National Assembly on electoral reform.
The submission of recommendation and continued legislative engagement, Yakubu says, were part of the Commission's commitment to ensuring more credible and transparent election in the future. Kike Lomo Okeri, Global Television News.
We appreciate your reporting, Kikelomo Okere. You're watching the live broadcast of News Cycle with Uyi Agbomofwegwe, where the rest of the news returns shortly. Mali's military government dissolves political parties. Details coming shortly, plus business and sports stories on the other side of this break. We encourage you to stay with us.
Do you know that global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch global television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to global television.
Thank you for staying with us. The second part of this news broadcast now returns with business, where the United States inflation has cooled off in April to 2.3%, being the lowest rate since February 2021, as Nigeria is set to release the country's April inflation figure. The Bureau of Labor Statistics' latest consumer price index data indicated that the U.S. inflation declined. The data showed that consumer prices rose to 0.2%, leading to an annual inflation drop to 2.3% in April from 2.4% in March last year. Dangote Petrochemical Refinery has reportedly skipped its planned maintenance for June 2025 at its 204,000 barrels per day premium motor spirit producing unit. The report emphasized that the maintenance was earlier scheduled for June 2025. And still in the petroleum industry, oil marketers have declared that the Dangote Petroleum Refinery and others in Nigeria may raise the pump price of petrol to 1,500 naira per litre once there is an outright ban on fuel importation. While the National Publicity Secretary of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, Chinedu Udadike, confirmed this, the Petroleum Producers Retail Outlet Owners Association of Nigeria said the association could not predict any price, but stressed that there will be a surge in price if the federal government stops fuel importation. A U.S. federal judge has ruled that the Trump administration could use an obscure wartime law to expel an alleged Venezuelan gang member, the latest twist in legal wrangling over deportations. District Judge Stephanie Haynes, a Trump appointee, found that the man's case complies with the 1798 Alien Enemies Act, but said authorities must provide greater notice to those subject to removal. Let's take it further into the foreign scene. Mali's military junta has dissolved all political parties in the country. In a statement, the country's military leader, Assimi Goïta, validated the decision. Last month, a national conference of political actors in Mali recommended the dissolution of all political parties and the naming of Goïta as president with a 5-year mandate. France Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot says the United States and Europe must put together new sanctions to suffocate Russia's economy in order to force Vladimir Putin to end the war against Ukraine. The European Union's fresh package of sanctions on Russia, but Jean-Noël Barrot pointed out that multiple rounds of punitive measures have failed to halt Russia's invasion of Ukraine, now in its 4th year. And now time to look at sports. Galatasaray and Trabzonspor will clash in the final of the Turkish Cup at the Gaziantep Stadium today. All eyes will be on Victor Osimhen as he looks to win his first major trophy with the Lyon. The 26-year-old, who has been named in Galatasaray's squad for tonight's encounter, will lead the team's attack. Let's bring it closer to home now. The Nigeria National League, NNL, has reaffirmed the board's commitment to maintaining its integrity ahead of the final round of matches of the season. The league's chairman, George Aluo, stated that the body is focused on aligning its operations with international best practices and will not be swayed by external pressures or influences. The league emphasized that only the most deserving teams will progress to the Super 8 playoff to fight for promotion to the Nigeria Premier Football League, NPFL. Bundesliga giants Borussia Dortmund have joined the list of clubs interested in KRC Genk striker Tolu Arokodare. Arokodare is the leading marksman in the Belgian Pro League this season with 22 goals and 7 assists. The Nigerian has been linked with the clubs in England and Turkey. And that's the full cycle on the news here. Thank you for watching. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms using Global TV NG as well as other handles as you now see on your screen. We urge you to download the Global TV Nigeria mobile app for Android and iOS devices to keep track of our 247 broadcasts. I'm Wiyag Mofwegbe, thanking you on behalf of my colleagues who have made this news broadcast possible.